Hey everyone, it's Clari here. How are you guys doing? I hope you've had a really good week, and yes, I'm so excited for this episode. I get to go through my collection of art books with you. I actually only started recently collecting art books, and I think a lot of it was because my figure collection tastes, I found that I was naturally drawn to my ethos figures or Chinese figures or figures that maybe were based off an art illustration, and so to kind of find more information about the kind of art content of some of my figures that I was interested in, it kind of then fed into art book collecting. I wouldn't say that I have a massive collection, and I probably will buy the odd art book here and there, but I can't see it maybe growing much more than this. So yeah, I thought I'd show you what I do have and ones that I would maybe recommend and some that were, you know, maybe slightly disappointing. We'll start with Saitom. My interest in Saitom began because of finding DF Stella. She's like such a beautiful figure. The moment that I purchased her, I knew that I wanted to find out more about Saitom's work because I just really liked some of the designs of the figures that he'd released. So I ended up picking up 2 Saitom books. This is the first one I collected, and this the Devil Fashion series was the second one I got. But we'll start with this one, this Saitom Works book. I got this off Amazon Japan, and I had a really easy experience with purchasing it, and yeah, it was great. However, in my naivety of not really understanding what the content would be, I assumed that the content of this doujin would be, is it a doujin? I guess it's more an art book. I thought the content would be more the DF like series, so that's why I ended up getting the DF art book as well. But I have to say there are some amazing illustrations in this book. Yeah, I'm really happy to have this in my collection, and I have to say I really hope some of these designs become figures in the end, because I really love their art style, especially the girl on the cover. I just think she would make such an amazing figure. I would say if you're on the more kind of conservative side with art, then maybe this is not the art book for you. It's not really ecchi, but it's just a little bit ecchi. So just warning you that there's a little bit of lewdness to it. However, I have to say that the drawings of Miku, he's done like a series of drawings of Hatsune Miku in there, which are already stunning, and I you know, they're not lewd at all. Any of the drawings kind of from then onwards, I would say it gets a lot more kind of PG, but maybe that's not true actually now that I'm flicking through it. I would say I was really happy with this book, and buying off Amazon Japan was super easy. Maybe a little bit more expensive than buying secondhand and stuff, but all things considered, like, I had a really positive experience with finding this art book and actually looking through the art content. So yeah, that leads on to Saitom's DF series. I would say this is my favourite art book. I probably looked through this, although it potentially might have been topped recently, but I just love this art book. It's got some amazing character design in it. I honestly want them to make a figure for every single DF designed figure that is in the art illustration book. It's really skinny. That's the only criticism. Like, I think it's pretty expensive given how skinny the actual art book is. There's not that many drawings in it, but I have to say every single drawing is a complete delight to look at, and yeah, it's definitely a book that is probably the only book I own that I look at every single day before I go to sleep. I really recommend to anyone to get this art book. And I have to say, my favourite Devil Girl, my favourite DF figure is probably, I'd have to say it's Stella. I don't know, I just love her. But second place, the one that I want to be made into a figure is this girl. I call her Jersey 88 girl, but because she's wearing a jersey, but I don't really know what her actual name is. But I just love her kind of curly lizard style horns. I think they look amazing. So yeah, but I'd really recommend to pick this book up. It's definitely a bit lewd, so I do warn you about that. But if you've seen, nothing's shown, like you don't see anything, but it's hinted at a lot. So just a warning with this. And I would say also, if you don't want to collect lewd stuff, when going on DoujinRepublic, definitely put the kind of like, there's a filter for like non-R-rated art books, because I definitely regret searching for Cardcaptor Sakura and not using that filter. So moving on from Saitom, probably the most aesthetically pleasing art book I have, which is probably the most easy to find and the most popular one, is this book by Fuzichoco, and it's a collection of his art illustrations. There's a couple of books like this. I think there's another one which I've looked at that also is really beautiful, and yeah, the illustrations in this book are just insane. So definitely in this book they go much more into like the actual scenery of the art, and yeah, like everything is just like a punch in the face in terms of colour. Like I love colour, and so for me, I just absolutely love this art book. There's literally not a single drawing in this book that isn't beautiful. So I'd say if you don't own any art books, I would recommend starting with this. And I especially love this sketch of this little butterfly girl. Oh my gosh, I really hope she gets made into a figure. Like, she's so cute. Yeah, I just love the colours. Do you know what? It reminds me a lot of the last season of Demon Slayer. Oh, it was so amazing. But the colours are kind of the same aesthetic, so yeah, she's really pretty. You should be able to get this book on Amazon Japan. You can make an account from multiple countries and just ship internationally. So yeah, definitely pick this one up. I'll probably go through my Onmyoji collection because, you know, I'm a massive Onmyoji fan, so, you know, I had to have some art books. This first book I got off Solaris Japan secondhand, and it was quite expensive, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed by it, just because I think some of the sketches are beautiful, but I don't think it follows the game illustrations. Like, it's more about the history of the actual narration of what the game is based off, which I think is really beautiful in its own way. However, I don't speak Japanese, so like I can't actually read what it says, and it is a good balance, I'd say, of graphics and Japanese text. If you are able to speak Japanese, I think this is like definitely an amazing book to pick up, because it would be so interesting to read. And if any of you do happen to speak Japanese, please tell me what is said in this book, because I would love to know. So it is an interesting book, but it was quite expensive, and it wasn't a traditional art book in the way that I thought it would be. It's more like a kind of like story narration book. So just bear that in mind when you're buying it. However, this is my last two books that actually arrived, and they're kind of small books. I got both of these books from DoujinRepublic. And by the way, with DoujinRepublic, I've had amazing customer service. Like, they've even sent me books and like left me little sketches with them, which is really cute, from some of the people who ship them out. So yeah, I really appreciate that kind of really good customer service. And they're really cute. I just wish they were like a normal kind of A4 textbook size. But I think the kind of narrow style really suits the kind of character design, because a lot of them are quite linear, and you see this in their figures as well. But they basically kind of got a page or a double spread per figure. This is the new, there's like a new figure that's come out of the kind of the rainbow girl, that's what I call her. And there's like drawings of her. So like, especially if you're a collector of Onmyoji figures, I'd really recommend getting these art books, because you can just get a little glimpse into some of the other character designs, which I just really love. Like, this figure was made by my ethos, and he's really super cute. So yeah, he gets his own art page as well. So I really like them. I'd say my favourite drawing is probably this one on the cover. I'm so looking forward to Shiranui getting her figure released. It's not out on Ami yet, and I'm like literally checking every day to see if they'll actually release her, and if they don't, I'm just gonna pre-order her on Taobao. I don't care, like I have to have this figure in my life. But here's like the original design, and I think she looks amazing, so yeah. And some of the figures, again, like this one's really beautiful, and this book's slightly different. They kind of cover more the actual drawing and the coloured illustration to show both. But oh, this little cat guy is kind of cute too. So yeah, they're really nice. And here are these two books I got from Ami, and I pre-ordered both of them. I have to say, I really struggle buying art books on Ami, just because sometimes the images are not uploaded onto the cover, so I don't really know what I'm buying half the time. And you'll definitely see this when I talk about these two art books, that there's been some pros and cons to both purchases. But the nice thing is that they're quite cheap when you pre-order them. They're usually, they don't have massive stock at Ami, so you do have to get your pre-order in, and they're usually not really available after pre-order. So you can't really get them, you can get them from other sites in the aftermarket, but they won't be as readily available on Ami. We'll start with Madoka Magica. I was really disappointed with this book. It wasn't super expensive, that's the only silver lining, but this was like one of their anniversary books, and I just felt it was a bit boring. Like, some of the illustrations are really nice, but like, I don't know, that one's a bit lewd. And it does include, there's quite, you know, the kind of famous iconic figures of Madoka and Homura. Their illustrations are in this book, but I don't know, I was just hoping that maybe it would cover more like some of the artwork from the animes, or like some artist illustrations. I think I wasn't expecting it just to be like character design, if that makes sense, although there are some really nice sketches of the characters. I'm probably, like, now looking through this, I'm probably being too harsh on this art book, but like, I don't know, I just pre-ordered it so far in advance that I just felt like I wanted a bit more punch from this. I was kind of like hoping a bit more for maybe like the Saitom-esque type of depth of character designs, and it kind of just felt like a lot of fan art. I don't know if that's me being really harsh, but yeah. If you're a Madoka Magica fan, I would definitely say pick this up. Like, it's totally worth it. If you're a fan of the anime or the light novels or whatever, or manga, definitely pick it up because it is really nice. But I'd say if you're not a fan of the show, probably don't get this, because I think it's very much fan focused, whereas I'd say like the Fuzichoco and Saitom illustrations, I don't think you need to like know much about the content of the drawings. I think you can just appreciate it as a beautiful piece of art. So that's my only thoughts. Anyway, I've saved the best till last. So I only got this book like I think a week or two ago. I think a week, yeah. This is my newest edition. I pre-ordered this Demon Slayer book, and I have to say I nearly cancelled this book. I gave in to temptation and I ended up ordering Clari in the aftermarket. And I was partly got Clari because of this art book, and I also partly got this art book because of Clari. And I'm so happy I got this art book. Like, I was so happy with Clari, and I'll do my unboxing of Clari next week. But this art book, oh my gosh, is amazing. And I would really recommend anyone, you do not need to be a Demon Slayer fan to pick this up. Like, it's so beautiful. The art in it, this is what I wanted from the Madoka Magica book. Like, the art is amazing. It covers the first series, and the character designs are just wonderful. The aesthetic is wonderful. They've got little sketches of some of the characters that is really nice. Like, there is not a single drawing in this book that isn't like pleasing to the eye. Yeah, this is a really good book. It's got loads of sketches of every character. It doesn't just focus on like one. And it's got like even the baddies in the series, like Mujin's got some sketches. Rui is really nice, this one. Actually, I've been so inspired by this book. I've actually been rewatching the first series of Demon Slayer, which I think I've rewatched that about 5 times now, but like, yeah, I just can't. I'm so obsessed with Demon Slayer. Like, it's my favorite show, I have to say, at the moment. So yeah, like, there's just loads in this book that I'd really recommend picking it up. If you're a fan, or if you're not a fan, like, there's lots to see here. So it's a tough decision on which one's my favorite between the DF girl Saitom book and this one. And thank you so much for watching. I've noticed we've got to 75 subscribers. Like, I cannot believe this. That I honestly, I would have been happy to have like 1 subscriber. So the fact that we made it to 75, like, I'm so grateful, everyone. So thank you so much for your support. I hope you have a good week. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Bye guys.